Warning. Critique Revolve contains adult language and discussions. If you're easily offended, do not continue to listen.
Hey there, boys and girls, cats and kittens out there in the Rain Man digital listening world. This is Brian Smith. Joining me this week on Critique Revolve is our very own Christopher Lily Lalagan. Say hello, Chris.
How are you, everyone? Hello.
How are you? And yeah, they're going to talk back to you, jackass.
I'm waiting for them to.
You're waiting for them to
fucking call me.
Anyways, guys, so Chris has actually been on the show before, but that show never saw the light of day. So
how did that turn out?
Pretty piss poor, actually. You were in Jersey, I believe, and we did it over the phone. It wasn't real great. So anyway, we're going to do this again. This is take 2 of Lily doing a review with me. So this week, guys, here on Critique Revolve on Rain Man Digital, we've got Seventh Son.
Oh my God, it is so fresh in my mind.
It's a PG-13 movie. It's action, adventure, and fantasy. It clocks in at just under 2 hours, 1 hour and 42 minutes. And it's the story of young Thomas, who is apprenticed to the local Spook to learn to fight evil spirits. His first great challenge comes when the powerful Mother Malkin escapes her confinement while the Spook is away. There's so many things wrong with that synopsis.
Why do they have to be called spooks?
Well, now this movie was released internationally December 17th of last year. It comes out here in America on February 6th. Yeah, February 6th, so it's going to be on a Friday. Anyway, it stars Jeff Bridges as the Spook.
Really? Not Jaimin Hatsu?
Not Jaimin.
God,
not Digimon Hatsu. But yeah, Jeff Bridges plays the Spook. Ben Barnes plays Thomas. Ben Bonds.
Who?
Ben Bonds plays the Apprentice. And Julianne Moore plays Mother Malkin. Yeah, so...
Directed by who?
Sergei Bodrov.
Ah, ex-KGB agent.
Probably, but Sergei Bodrov is known for a slew of direct-to Netflix movies like Mongol, The Rise of Genghis Khan, Prisoner of the Mountains, and 2001's The Quickie.
I hear that almost broke 2 stars.
Almost. Wow, that's just really sad. So yeah, Sergei Bodrov, who's literally directed nothing that you've ever heard of. He's Russian and about 66 years old, so he's got one foot in the grave, and he's got an alcohol problem.
Oh, so he doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly. Ben nice. Barnes, who's playing the Apprentice, of course, is from London, England. You guys probably know him as Prince Caspian from the chronic Whatculls of Narnia.
Yes.
And actually, I think that's really the only thing he's been in, isn't it?
He's been in a couple of other things.
I mean, he was in Stardust, but I don't remember who he was in that movie. Which is really sad, dude, because I've seen Stardust like 700 times. It's one of Dakota's favorite movies.
He also played Dorian Gray, 2009's Dorian Gray.
You mean the Dorian Gray that no one saw?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. So if Dorian Gray plays Dorian Gray and no one saw it, is he still counted as Dorian Gray?
This was kind of interesting. He was also in a movie in 2011 called Killing Bono. I can't help but think you do. I'm like, I so want to kill Bono.
So stupid. So, Chris, we went into this movie and you know, we looked up the writers and we looked up the we looked up the director, and obviously with the director, neither of us had seen anything that he'd ever done. But then you look at the writers, and you've got Charles Levitt on the screenplay here, and this guy did Blood Diamond. He did K-Pax, which I actually feel is wildly underrated.
Yeah.
I really like that one. He's attached to do the new Warcraft movie based on World of Warcraft.
Oh, no.
So, but then he also did The Express, which was about that running back.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
that was actually a really good one, too.
That was a good movie, yeah.
So, I mean, he's done some good stuff in there. That's one of the writers. The second writer on here is Stephen Knight, who did the screenplay. He actually created Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. He created the show Peaky Blinders, which I believe you watch, right, with Cillian Murphy?
Actually, I started to just, I played like maybe 3 minutes of the first episode. So
okay, so you started watching it,
right? I mean,
you're 3
it's
minutes
one of those,
in.
Yeah, it's one of those water cooler shows, like those Netflix water cooler shows that just
everybody talks
pops
about
up in conversation.
Yeah,
exactly. You need to check out Peaky Blinders. Did you like Sherlock, or maybe Sherlock Holmes?
Stop it.
No, I'm serious.
No, he also he's directing and wrote, or he directed and wrote Tom Hardy and Locke, and another great movie, Eastern Promises from 2007, which was fantastic. Now, the screen story was also done by Matt Greenberg. He did Reign of Fire, which was, that's a classic. Halloween H2O 20 years later.
I liked Reign of Fire.
Also known as What Killed Josh Hartnett's Career. And 1408, which almost killed... actually, I like 1408. That's a really good movie.
Let me tell you something. John Cusack has never been better.
Than when he was doing 1408?
Absolutely not. I was talking about Better Off Dead.
There's so much snow here. Do you know the street value of all this? Anyway, now this movie is based on a book. The book is called The Spook's Apprentice.
Oh,
I know, dude. This is just so... Oh. Yeah, it's Joseph Delaney.
Joseph Delaney, you couldn't pick a better word? Just something a little more creative?
Well, I mean, this is a 3-part... I think a 3-part
what was the
series.
second one? The Jigaboo's Apprentice?
Oh, my God. You
I'm
can't
sorry.
say that, dude. You can't say that.
Why not?
Now, this was book 1 of his series. It's The Last Apprentice is the name of the series. Now, it's interesting to note that this movie actually had a ton of production delays. It was originally set to be released in January of 2014, but it got pushed all the way back until January 2015. Warner Brothers was originally supposed to release the film with Legendary Entertainment, but of course, they dissolved their partnership, and Universal Pictures and Legendary Studios are now together. Yeah. That's why on a lot of the early posters for the movie, you actually have Warner Brothers logo. Diana R. Agron, Imogene Poots, and Felicity Jones all tested for the lead role after none other than Jennifer Lawrence dropped out of it.
Wow.
You also
jumped ship.
You also lost Alex Pettyfer. I Am Number 4. And a slew of other teen heartthrob movies.
Wasn't he in a Beauty and the Beast remake?
Beastly, I believe. Yeah, he was in Beastly. Yeah. I actually watched that movie. It wasn't horrible.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I watched it on TV. Like, I wasn't about to rent it.
See, the makeup design, really, of Beastly or whatever the hell his
really
character's
good.
name. It was, it
was fantastic.
It drew me in.
Right. Now, testing for the lead role on this one after Pettyfer dropped out was Shiloh Fernandez, Sam Claflin, Caleb Landry Jones, and James Freckville. I have never heard of any of those people.
Wow.
Yeah. Not only that, you get Jeff Bridges, of course, with Julianne Moore. This is the first time that they've been reunited since The Big Lebowski.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, either way, it's just really... God, I don't even know what to say about this movie. So Chris and I went into this with moderate hopes, I would say. I don't think we had high hopes for it.
I mean, I had heard from you that you heard it was gonna be all right.
That is exactly what I heard. I had read some early reviews and some early press and some early buzz on it. Was that it was actually going to be a pretty decent flick. And Jeff Bridges. I watched The Giver, his passion project for last year, and that was really good. I can't deny that. I actually really liked it. They did take some liberties from the original source material.
Right.
And with this one now, obviously, I've never read this source material.
No, neither have I.
It's one of the few times I can say that when I go to a movie that I honestly didn't even know this was based on a book.
I had inklings that it was a graphic novel. I had heard that somewhere, and I don't know if that was ever true, if they ever adapted it into a graphic novel. But
I don't know. I mean, I think the last graphic novel I saw that was put on the screen was 47 Ronin. Which I actually liked.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I have a soft spot for Keanu Reeves. Now,
I'm a little more critical of those kinds of movies.
You're far more critical than I am.
Yeah.
I actually give them a lot of leeway, but that's just me. And I love Julianne Moore. I think she is incredibly attractive for an older woman. Yeah. And I loved her as the other president in Divergent, or not Divergent, in what's the word I'm looking for here?
Hunger Catching
Games.
Fire,
yeah. There you go. Wow, you went all out. You even said Catching Fire.
Hey,
Look
man,
at you.
I love those movies. Those movies are great.
You're a fucking super fan. But,
super fan.
Now, at the same time, I then, looking at the actors here, Ben Barnes, there's something about the way that kid delivers his lines as Prince Caspian, which is really the only thing I remember him as, that I absolutely abhor. I think he is just atrocious.
Dead on arrival.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Like
you can't force a pretty face at me,
right,
and expect me to just like him because he's pretty.
Well, it was kind of like watching Weekend at Bernie's. I think Bernie actually had better lines than Barnes.
He was funnier.
He was definitely funnier. And in watching this flick, now we did have to see it in 3D. which is a huge drawback for me. I it's been documented well through the other shows that we've done that I am not a fan of 3D in general. I think that if it's shot in 3D, that's fine. This was definitely a conversion movie. And when you're already a year behind budget, the last thing you need to do is try to convert it into 3D.
Yeah, just unnecessary.
It felt rushed. Now, at the same time, there were quite a few special effects in the movie that I did like. There were some I did not like, but there were quite a few that I did like. I thought that the dragons actually looked pretty cool.
The siege of the walled city.
That was actually okay.
That was okay.
There was a couple moments where I was just like, wow, that looks so fake.
Yeah.
But once again, I was also watching it in 3D, and I don't do well with that because I wear glasses.
Yeah.
And, well, guess what?
Well, I mean, so do I. I don't have as much of an issue if the 3D conversion is good.
Right.
And I mean, a few movies have ever really been good. Avatar being the exception. I mean, that's top shelf 3D.
Well, yeah, no, Avatar was absolutely amazing. Avatar was one of those movies where you can't even compete with the 3D that was done in that. So
you didn't even mention actually that Kit Harington.
Well, I was getting there.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, since you want to spoil plot points, that's fine. So essentially, you go into the movie and it opens up with this big scene of this dude getting called to like exorcise a demon. Essentially, like, I mean, that's not the complete opening, but that's like the first thing. And Kit Harington, also AKA Jon Snow.
I didn't mean to step on your toes. I'm really sorry.
It's
about
fine.
That.
AKA Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, and also the lead character from. Wait, no, that's not him. That's the Marvel fucking Daredevil. God damn it. I am struggling today.
You're speaking, of course, of Charlie Cox.
Yeah, Charlie Cox, who I adore. I love him in Stardust, by the way. Yeah, anyway, so Kit Harington shows up, and you're like, oh, sweet. Yeah. That's going to be the main character. And you're like super stoked for it.
Absolutely.
And then something happens, and he's not the main character.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, who's the main character? And then you find out it's Ben Barnes. And if you're me, you're incredibly disappointed. Yeah. Like immediately disappointed by the movie.
Oh, you went with a lesser actor.
Right? Like, well, no, at the same time, though, I believe this was shot back in 2013, which was before Thrones had kind of taken off.
Sure.
And so you didn't know who the lesser actor was. I mean, Barnes had just done all of the Prince Caspian movies.
Yeah.
The Voyage of the Dawn Treador and Prince Caspian at Sea and Prince Caspian's Naked, Look at Me.
Listen to you with your foreign tongue.
My foreign tongue.
You've never been sexier.
You're so dumb. But anyway, so, they kind of do the switcheroo on you there, and that's a little bit disheartening, to be honest with you. And, the costume design, I'm going to be all over the place with this review because that's exactly how the movie was.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where I looked at the movie, we went to IMDb after the movie, and truth be told, I was absolutely shocked at the review rating for this movie on IMDb. Not so much because of where it was, because I feel like, where it's at on IMDb is about right. But what absolutely just killed me was that I then checked the next closest movie to this, which would be Dungeon Siege in the Name of the King. And
starring Jason Statham.
Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I actually liked Dungeon Siege more than I liked this movie. And it's funny because when we walk out of the movies, we have to like tell them what we thought.
Yeah.
And the first
impressions.
My first impression was, well, it was as good as Dungeon Siege. So, I mean, I think that pretty much sums up what we thought of this movie in a nutshell. But, Dungeon Siege, of course, was Yui Boll and Jason Statham. So, yay. And Ron Perlman, though. Like, Ron Perlman saved that movie.
Yeah, with his weird shapes body.
Right. Like he's not a real person. He's just shapes.
Yeah, he just makes you ask questions. That's Hellboy? That's Hellboy?
But no, so, it was one of those things where as you're watching the movie, like, they hit all of the major plot points for a fantasy novel, but it felt very much like I was watching a first-time dungeon master try to lead his party through harm's way at like a Saturday afternoon Dungeons and Dragons event.
Oh God!
Like that's honestly what it felt like. And now, for those of you that know, I used to run a comic book store, and occasionally you would have the Dungeons and Dragons guys there, or Pathfinder, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And you'd have the DM, and you could always tell when it was a new DM because the guy wasn't sure about what he wanted to do.
A lot of reading.
And well, that's exactly how this movie felt. There was a lot of things that you're just like, wow, I didn't need that exposition. Oh, look.
Oh, no.
She's a witch. Ha 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 ha. Oh, there's trolls and goblins too. That's odd.
Yeah.
Why don't you? There's only humans in the cities.
You know, this movie put a lot of reliance on two of their principals, and I do have to commend Jeff Bridges and Julianne Moore for
Attempting
trying
to salvage
to
it.
deliver those lines as convincingly as possible.
Like, I mean, yeah.
The dialogue.
Oh my God. The dialogue in this movie was actually painful.
Oh,
it was painful. Like they tried to do this movie couldn't decide if it wanted to be funny,
right,
or if it wanted to be like an action fantasy,
right.
You know, and the funny moments missed horribly because the lines were so bad.
Yeah.
And the action fantasy missed because then afterwards you'd get a one-liner. and it would be like the derpiest one-liner ever. It wasn't like, you know, I'll be back or, you know, I've come to do two things, chew bubble gum and kick some ass. I'm out of bubble gum. Like those are corny ass lines.
Shame on you, Seventh Son writers, for letting Jeff Bridges deliver those lines.
Right? Like honestly, as Jeff Bridges, at what point do you just go, I'm Jeff Bridges?
Yeah.
I will not say that.
And I've said it on multiple occasions this night. We watched that movie, and the entire time I kept thinking, oh, Rooster Cockburn from True Grit.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
He was essentially playing the exact same character again, which is fine.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's old now.
A little more loopy, you know?
Well,
kind of crazy old man.
He was crazy old man. He was very much Lebowski in a couple times, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like, with the weird smile out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, it was like he was channeling every role he'd ever done because he had no direction.
Right.
And that's honestly how this felt. Like, the whole movie felt like there was really no direction given. Of course, they crammed the love story in there because, you know, that's what they do. And the girl is Alicia Vikander, who's very, very pretty. She's going to be in Ex Machina. She was in Anna Karenina. She was in A Royal Affair. I think is she Swedish? Yeah, she's Swedish.
Swedish, yeah.
And she's cute. Like you can't deny that. They also have Digimon Hansu.
Jaimon Hansu.
Digimon, dude. It's Digimon.
It looks like Digimon.
It does.
Yeah.
It looks like Digimon.
I'll agree with you there.
You have Olivia Williams, who was just so pretty.
Yeah.
So pretty. Anche Trau. Is that how you say that? Or Truau?
I'm going to go ahead and default to that. Yeah.
Okay. She was in Man of Steel.
Yes, she was.
Yeah, she
and,
played.
Pandorum.
And Pandorum, yes. And then you had Jason Scott Lee, who I love as an actor, but they put so much like makeup and shit on, you could barely recognize him.
Honestly, he's in the movie for all of what? 30 seconds?
Maybe 45.
Maybe
45. And then Candace McClure, who I recognize from Battlestar Galactica, of all things.
Yeah.
Right? And the 2002 remake of Carrie.
super cute.
Super cute. That is true. That's true. You know what, dude? I've realized something, though, in watching these movies, and now it's like every time I talk about an actress who I think is cute, she's in her 30s.
Yeah.
I'm old. Because it used to be like...
You're not that old.
Dude,
Come on.
Dude, it's one of those things where like I used to look at a girl...
Give me some hope, man. I'm only a year younger than you.
I know, but I used to look at like movie stars, and if they were in their 30s, I'd be like, man, she's old. Now I see a movie star that's in her 30s, and I'm like, yeah. Is she
That's
divorced
called
yet?
aging.
Is she divorced yet? Like, that's my thought process. So dumb.
She got a husband?
Right? Or not.
I hope your husband appreciates you, Julianne Moore. What? You're not married?
That's crazy. But yeah, no. So essentially, guys, with Seventh Son, like we said, the writing is piss poor at best. The CGI was overutilized and underdeveloped.
Yeah.
The soundtrack itself sounds like you're listening to Mortal Kombat. With a mixture of like it was weird though, because it was like Mortal Kombat mixed with like
I don't even
like Ren Fair.
Yeah.
Like the Renaissance Festival.
A lot of 300 atmospheric tones.
Yeah, very much. And it doesn't fit. And
No.
like, you know, like production design, you know, some of the sets were really good.
You know, I have issues with any movie that feels it necessary to make CG trees. Why do you need to make CG trees?
Bro, Trees are hard.
What? Trees are hard?
Trees are hard. Getting all the trees to look the way you want them to look, man.
You gotta dig them out by the roots. That's terrible.
But, okay, so the movie was shot in British Columbia, in Vancouver. It was also shot, or the New Hollywood. It was also shot in Hollywood and in LA. So there was a lot of soundstage stuff that went on. A lot of green screen. A lot of really bad green screen. A lot of really bad just effects in general. And it's a little bit disturbing in that, you know, the movie took an extra year. Polish that shit.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Okay, so you run out of budget. I'm sorry. I think the biggest travesty here is that it's already made $81 million overseas.
So, sequel?
Yeah, probably. I mean, this is the first part of a book series.
Mm-hmm.
So Ben Barnes is going to get to do another one, and Bridges will probably come back, and Julianne Moore will probably be back.
No, they'll probably recast Master Gregory.
Master Gregory. Yeah,
Master
but who do you
Gregory.
recast, dude? Like, who takes Jeff Bridges' place?
I mean, Kevin Spacey. He's already at commercial level. I mean, he is doing commercials actively. Like,
Yeah,
that's what he's
But
doing.
he's also doing that TV show that's fantastic.
I'm going to shell out insurance. I was Kaiser Soze once. That's terrible. But that's what's going to end up happening. They're going to take one of those fallen actors who you do recognize from really great movies.
From like 20 years ago.
Sure, 20 years ago. And they're
Right.
going to just throw them. Put a goatee on him, some long hair, and give him a weird voice, and he's going to be Master Gregory for the sequels.
Nah, you know, I'm going to be honest, dude. Like, you know what would have made this movie better?
Titties.
Oh, well, that, yeah, I mean, that makes every movie better.
Maybe
like,
guns?
truthfully. No, I don't think guns. I think just what's the word I'm looking for here?
Tension?
Attention to detail would have made this movie better. I think one of the biggest drawbacks for the movie was actually the costume design.
Yeah, you know what? Okay. All right.
I'll let you do this one because I know you had some serious issues with costume design.
I had some serious issues with the costume design, but I will preface that with the fact that I did not read the source material. Okay, so I really don't know how any of these are going to be are going to fit in this movie. But at one point or another, we saw several instances of Quaker men, like the Quaker Oats guy, just sort of walking around.
Well, no, those were supposed to be like church-going people.
Is that what that is?
I think so because I mean you had like the 1800s, like
Yeah.
or no 1600s.
Yeah.
Not monks, with the priests.
It just looked like a mushkalans of like different cultures and everything. And
yeah,
a lot
absolutely.
of times I can appreciate that when there's some kind of synergy involved. You know,
Well, like I mean, if you
it all
like, okay,
should fit.
like you look at like Game of Thrones,
Right.
You look at Game of Thrones, and they have 50 different nationalities,
Right.
all in one port city. This all pretty much took place in the middle of the country.
Right.
It looked like feudal England,
Right.
right? Lots of castles.
Yeah. Feudal England or some kind of Norse.
Yeah, but there were some mountains, so I guess it could have been like Germany,
Could have.
or
Switzerland.
even Russia.
Right.
Because I guess Russia would make more sense, seeing as that's where the director's from.
Yeah, but I mean the source material.
Yeah, I don't know what the source material is. Probably fucking like
Yeah.
you
Some
know,
kind of
that's
weird.
that's where they're from because he
ass
made up a
Middle
word.
Earth.
Yeah, Middle Earth. Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's one of those things that where like they have the orcs and they have like the shapeshifters and they have the witches and they have the warlocks and they have the spooks and
the spooks.
like honestly,
At
like,
no point did they ever sell that.
like
that name.
how does that work?
I don't know.
Like I honestly just feel bad saying the word.
Yeah, why didn't they call them, I don't know, priests?
Or well, because that's already been done. They priests kill vampires.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, you see what I did there?
All right.
Anyway,
I gotcha.
no, I'm just saying, like, it just seemed very confused. Like, at one point, like, the apprentice is wearing essentially a hoodie.
Yeah.
Like a straight up hoodie, like with
Like an Abercrombie
Like,
hoodie.
it looked like an Abercrombie hoodie without the lettering on it.
Right.
It did. It had like nice, like the nice machine stitching around the hood. I mean, it was
Nice
ridiculous.
cut lines and everything.
No, it was ridiculous how clean the stitching was on that. But then there's like other parts of the movie where he's literally wearing like a smock,
Yeah.
or like an undershirt from like 1427.
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy. And then you had like all of these different weaponry, or all the different weaponry that they used that didn't match anything. You know, you had sabers, you had scimitars, you had broadswords, you had one-handed swords.
You had a lot of Asian influence.
There was a lot of Asian influence, but there was no Asians
and everything. Well, no, there were there were a couple of Asians.
No, there were the assassins,
right?
Who you assume are Asian, but you don't really know because they all have face masks on,
right?
And then there was Jason Lee,
who
was a bear.
Yes, he was a bear,
but not a panda bear.
No,
he was just a bear,
a giant grizzly,
right? And his name was so original in Ural, because I believe that's actually like Russian for bear. Like, I'm not like I don't want to look it up because I don't care enough. But I'm actually almost positive that Ural is like some language for bear. It's like Ursa is bear. It's just ridiculous. But so I mean, in watching the movie, it was just like this hodgepodge of bullshit. And well, it was, man. I mean, it was very lazy.
Yeah.
The movie itself was lazy. And once again, we don't know the source material, so I'm not blasting the source material here because I don't know it. But I will blast the shit out of this director. I feel like it was underdirected. It was overacted at parts, underacted in other parts. The script was a mess. The dialogue was painful. The whole thing just felt very, very forced. Like, let's throw all of these fantastic people into a movie and give them no direction and hand them their lines 5 minutes before they're on set and have them read.
Essentially, yeah.
That's what it felt like. And that's a shame because Julianne Moore is absolutely one of the most talented actresses in Hollywood. And, you know, Bridges, when he's not high, is really good.
Bridges, when he is high, is good.
That's true, too. Yeah, Lebowski.
But, I mean, he has direction.
He does. I mean, that's the thing, is that, like, you know, they are actors. They're not... It's a different thing. Being an actor and being somebody who doesn't need direction are two very different things. It's very, very different. And then you throw this kid in, Ben Barnes, and he's... Honestly, I just don't like him. It really comes out that way. I've seen him as, you know, two different characters now, and I have absolutely no use for him. I think his acting style is lacking.
Did he ever have an air of give a shit?
I don't believe so. Like, it honestly, like almost every single scene just kind of felt like he was staring off into space and was just trying really hard not to look at the camera.
Can I go into a bit of spoiler territory?
Yeah, we can do some spoilers. There's about 5 minutes or so here.
All right. I'm going to get a little personal here. My mother died in 2011, actually 3 days before my birthday.
Right.
I was a mess, absolute mess.
Of course.
Tears everywhere.
Right.
I love the woman to death to this day. You know, I can't stop thinking about her. You know, the pain is still there. Mm-hmm. I got none of that when Ben Barnes' character's mother died.
What, you mean ma'am?
Ma'am.
Yeah, because that's what they call mom in this universe.
Ma'am.
M-A-M.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like, and the thing is like, when he found out about it, it was almost like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yes. He gave the hero look into the sky and said, I think I've always known, or some bullshit.
Yeah, it was I don't know, it was weird. It was just weird. Like, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, and like at the beginning of the movie, like they made it seem like he was super close with his mom.
Yeah.
And so there were like huge plot holes where like shit just doesn't really add up.
No.
And then like, here, go with this guy.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm supposed to do this. What?
You know what I think would have been funnier is if they actually put the other 6 brothers in the 7th son to just sort of like mill around going, what the fuck, man? 5 is a good number. Assholes. And have him like throw a pig at like Master Gregory.
They're just mad. Like, what's wrong with number 5, man? I'm number 5. He's like, 5, my lord, 5. But no, like, I mean, yeah, the movie was just a mess. It was a big, hot mess. I cannot, in good conscience, tell anyone I know to go see this movie.
No.
If we were doing the old show, this was a definite slay it.
I'm going to have to slay it as well.
Right. And I think on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being thanks killing or death by VHS.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was my movie. And 10 being Shawshank Redemption. This movie scores lower than Dungeon Siege. Dungeon Siege in that scale is a 4.
At best.
It's for me, it's a 4 because I will rewatch Dungeon Siege.
Oh, okay.
This movie, however, is a 2 because the rewatchability factor of this movie for me is 0.
I'm going to give this a hard 3, actually.
A hard 3.
Hardest.
Okay. So it's a nice solid 3.
Yeah.
Which means it's if you have
good
nothing
hard college cock.
No, it's like this.
You know.
If you have nothing better to watch on Netflix, if you have gone through every season of every TV show that is on Netflix,
all the new releases, anything with Cusack, anything with John Candy, anything with Chevy Chase, hell, fuck it, even anything with Randy Quaid. All right.
Then you decide you watch this movie.
Yeah.
That's how I go with it. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for us this evening, today, tomorrow, whenever you're listening. I don't know, 5 days from now, yesterday. It doesn't matter.
Whatever.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate it. And we'll talk to you later.
I love you.
That was really awkward, man.
Sorry.
It's just like your love life. Awkward and over quickly.
The Corova Milk Bar sold Milk Plus Velocet, or Synthemesk, or Drencrum, which is what we were drinking. This would sharpen you up and make you ready for a bit of the old ultra-violence.